Hi, this is Julian Winters, author of Running with Lions and How to Be Remy Cameron. You can check out both of my books via my publisher, Interlude Press, and you're listening to So Booking Cool with Jewel D.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Check out part 2 of my conversation with author Julian Winters, only on So Booking Cool.
And if How to Be Remy Cameron was adapted for the screens, would you rather it be told as a film or as a series, and why?
Ooh, I think I would want Remy's story to be told as a film. I think Remy's story is more set to go through, the different phases that a film goes through versus in a series where I feel like you're always trying to tell another story with each episode and whatnot. I think he's more of a journey versus telling, a different story and to keep this going, let's tell another story, let's tell another aspect here. This book is definitely all about Remy and his journey, and I think I would want to see that as a film. My first book, I would say do a series, but Remy, I would say, yeah, he's more of a film one.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
I would love it.
Yeah. What books do you enjoy reading when you have the time?
I am always trying to make time for reading. It's just me. I've gotten to the point now where I say, you know what, I'm done for the day, and I'm just going to spend an hour with this book. So, I obviously love young adult books. I love a good adult romance book too. Do not get it twisted. If you can give me a great fake dating or a great, I hate you but I love you book, I am there for. I am a rom-com fiend, okay? But young adult, I spent a lot of time reading that for the escapism and also for that, that reminder of who I was and who I am now kind of thing. So I love sitting and reading young adult books, whether it's a good comedy or a great fantasy, things like that, just things to help me escape.
Is there what's the last thing you read and why that you really liked?
The last one that I read I really liked, I can't say because it hasn't been announced yet, but I will say that when it is announced, I am going to scream at the top of my lungs about it because this book is so good. But I can't say, so I'm going to keep it to myself. But before that, let me think about the one I read. There's a book coming out next year called We Are Totally Normal, which I really loved. And I also read, let me think if there's something more recent. I'm probably sure this is fairly recent, but How Not to Ask a Boy to Prom by S.J. Gosling I read, and oh my goodness, I loved it. I love a great, fake dating book, first of all. It's so great to love a great fake dating book, but it's also really great because of the characters in there. The dynamics of it are just phenomenal. I'm dating the person that probably hates me most in school kind of thing. It was awesome. It was so good, so funny, so heartwarming. I really, really loved it. And I also recently read, well, not recently read, but reread Black Wings Beating by Alex London. It's a YA fantasy, and I'm the kind of person where if you kill a minor character, I'm in the corner crying. But this book is so good. It takes me through so many emotions, but I love it because it's so captivating, and it's so many, twists and turns to it. You're just like, what are you doing? Stop. No. But I love it. I love it so much. So I reread that recently because the sequel to that one in the series, Red Sky Falling, just came out. I'm into that, and I'm so, blown away. You know how you're reading a series, and the first one's always great, and you're wondering, can the rest of them live up to it?
Yeah.
And this one is definitely living up to it. So that's what I'm currently reading, and it's killing me.
Was YA a genre that you loved when you were younger? I know you also mentioned that there weren't that many books that were around that appealed to you, too, so...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a genre I enjoyed, but I didn't have the books to enjoy it with. I loved The Outsiders growing up. I don't know. I mean, it was the one book in high school where I think I finished. When you get that assignment in high school, you're like, yeah, I'm going to read, the first chapter, maybe the last couple of chapters, and let's make up this essay from there. With The Outsiders, though, no, I read it from first to last page, and I genuinely enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed it so much because of the found family dynamics and the coming of age feel and just the different arcs that those characters went through. That, for me, was great, but I couldn't find much of that growing up. I really couldn't find much of that growing up as, a black person and also as a queer person. The books just weren't there. And if they were,
Right.
they were painful, they were traumatic, they were hard to process, and I was not about that. So, I didn't have the way I wanted growing up, but I'm so glad and so thankful that this current generation does have that diverse range of books that they can pick up and fall completely in love with and see themselves on page.
Are there any types of books that you would like to see more of, or maybe any books that we haven't seen yet in the industry?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. I would love to see more fantasy, sci-fi, rom-coms, horror books starring people of color all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I am here for it. I want it. Do it. Like, those kind of books I would love to see, just because I know when I go to these events, there are so many teens that aren't white that want to see themselves out there. And so, that for me, I would love to see more of that. I'd love to see, more like a queer black boy in space. Give me that, give me a great sci-fi adventure. I'd love to see more books with, more books written by own voice, authors, which is, if this is an identity of marginalization that you are a part of. I'd love to see more of that. I'd love to see more queer books getting on, the New York Times best-selling list, written by actual queer authors. I would love to see, some more books where the main character is asexual or demisexual. I'd love to see that exposed more and give that community something to latch on to. Just so much I would love to see, and so much in publishing that I would love to see diversified, so that the hunger finally starts to die down, and all of a sudden it's become the normal instead of just like the rarity. And it just disturbs me so much that in 2019, certain types of books are still a rarity instead of just normal, because it's normal in society, so why shouldn't it be normal in publishing?
You said it. You said it right. Oh my God! I was like, "Caught you right." I was about to call you right. But Julian, that is so well said. And representation, it matters. It matters.
It makes a huge difference in people's lives.
That's right. So I want to also mention that Becky Albertalli, she had a very nice blurb about your book. For those of you guys who don't know, the author of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. And what is it like as an author to receive a blurb from another author? And how are you going to approach the time that you write a blurb if you have not already?
I kid you not. I cry every time. Because it's just, first of all, it's unimaginable when these people that you consider your heroes, people who open doors, who knock down walls and whatnot, people like Silvera or Adib Karam, Marco Shiro, Sean David Hutchinson, who make such a difference in your world, and the difference they're making in other people's worlds. For them to say something kind about your book, and not just oh, I enjoyed this book, but actually get into detailed, blurbs and saying how much they love certain aspects, it means so much to me. So I often get a bit emotional. But it's amazing to me. You think, I'm just this little person in the, publishing world who knows me, and they know you, and they love what you've written. So it's a great feeling. For me, the first time I was asked, I have written a couple of blurbs now, and the first time I was asked, I was like, "Are you sure you meant me? Did you email the right person?" It was an honor, to think that someone, first of all, respects me enough to think my words on their book is going to make a difference. I'm honored every single time, and when they do, like, I dive head first into that book, like, listen, I am going to love this book from start to finish. And I really do. So it's great. It's an honor, and I hope it keeps happening, because it's an opportunity for me to talk about more books. And I want that. I want to expose people to more books out there.
You are awesome, Julian.
Thank you so much.
You really are. So is this the second book in which you had C.B. Messer? You guys collaborated with Messer? Am I saying her name right? She designed lines too.
Yeah. So C. Messer is the art director for Interlude Press, and she does majority of the covers she's done for their collection. She did the cover for Running with Lions. She did the cover for Be Remy Cameron. She did the cover for my next book coming out. Fantastic. But for this book, before I even finished the first draft, I was calling her on the phone and talking to her about it, and we're just vibing off of each other and talking about things, because it's a very personal book for me, but it's also a very personal book for her in aspects of her identity. So we just went back and forth vibing about it, and it's almost like she was there with me from start to finish. Just her input, her support and whatnot, it was amazing. But that's what I also love about her as an art director. She doesn't just, read the synopsis for a book and say, oh, okay, I'm going to create the cover from that. She reads the books. And so that's why the covers turn out so amazing, because they're so detailed to what the story actually is and what it means.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the work, it's fantastic. It's so eye-catching, and
the fact that she can switch up styles like nobody's business is just amazing. She can go from creating the cover of Run of Lions, is very cute, very anime, very comic book style, and then to such a detailed illustration for Remy. I was just like, are you the same person? This is unbelievable.
So I want to also know, Julian, how would you describe yourself as a reader? And I want you to talk about how a book is really connecting with you. Like, it's really entertaining versus you might read until the book does become something that you want to continue reading. Like how do you approach it as a reader?
Well, I'm a very slow reader. Shout out to all the slow readers, okay? Because it takes me a while to finish a book. So whether I love it or it takes me a minute to fall in love with it, it still takes me forever to finish. But for me, people always say, you gotta catch him with the first page. You gotta catch him with the first sentence. And that's not the case for me. Like, first pages, first sentences, great. I'm there for it. Sometimes I will reread a first page over and over again, like, how did you do that? But for me, I'll actually take the time. I'll go 50 pages and I'll go 100 pages and I'll go to the end until I feel like I got, what I came for. What catches me though for a reader is I'm just a character kind of person. Like, you can show me a great world. You can introduce me to all kinds of fantastic things. But if I fall in love with the characters in there, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the main character, I've read books all the way to the end just to see what happens to a side character. But that's just me. Like, I care about people. And so, that's what it is for me that really pulls me in. If you make me fall in love or you make me hate a character, then I'm in for it. I'm all the way in, and I'll keep reading, and if there's parts that I don't like, cool. That's with everything in life. Like even my favorite movies, there are parts where just like, you could have left that out. But that doesn't make it an imperfect movie. It makes it human. And that's what's great about things in life, is we have to start to recognize not perfection, but what makes each part of life human.
Do you think when writing a book that what makes it feel human is writing about actual experiences, or is it possible to like really move somebody, you think, with something that is just purely imaginative?
I think it's both. I have been super moved by purely imaginative stuff. I actually, going back to Alex London and his new book Red Skies Falling, I actually messaged him last night screaming at him about something that happened to a bird in the book. Okay, so it can be both, because he created just this imaginative world where you just get that attached to things. But also I think you do have to have a little bit of that humanity and that experience. And I'm not talking about it has to be like some kind of bad experience. It has to be some kind of experience that's traumatizing. I'm just talking about the experience of joy, the experience of a smile, the experience of loss, the experience of gaining something. Those things are so, part of it. And I think as a human writing a book, you have to put a bit of humanity into it. It cannot all be just imaginative, but at the same time, it can't be all just humanity. Sometimes you have to have that spark of, this will never happen in a million years, but it happened in this book, and I believe it, kind of feel. So I think it's an equal part kind of deal for me.
And have you bonded with other authors within the young adult community, and what are some of the things that you guys talk about?
I definitely have. It's been the most amazing thing, because becoming an author, I felt like the new kid going into the cafeteria on the first day of school, like, am I allowed to sit at this table kind of thing? But I have bonded with them, and it's funny because we talk about all kinds of things. We can talk about publishing, we can talk about book ideas, we can talk about things we struggle with, like I really struggle writing a synopsis, and I remember having a full-on conversation with 5 other authors about writing synopsis and why we love and hate them. So we talk about things like that. We talk about craft. We talk about experiences. But sometimes we sit around and just talk about the Great British Bake Off. Like, that's the other thing that is so needed in the community, is the ability to talk about things that don't have anything to do with publishing or don't have anything to do with writing, so that you remember this is not all that you are. Otherwise, it can be very consuming. And I'm so grateful that I can sit around and talk about French toast with other authors.
Wow. What advice can you give to authors in general, and specifically YA authors?
To authors in general, the best advice that I can give is to, when you're struggling, don't give up on yourself and don't give up on the idea. Be okay with walking away for a while. And a while could be a day, it could be an hour, it could be 5 years. But be okay with walking away from it, because you can't force that creative muscle into doing what you want it to do. You have to exercise it. And sometimes that exercise is not every day is leg day, Sometimes it's arm day, sometimes it's cardio day, So maybe that means today you don't work on that idea, you go work on something else. Maybe today you go write a song. Maybe today you don't write anything. That's fine. Have a cheat day. That's, for me, is the most important thing. And the thing I always tell other writers is, you're not perfect. Accept that. Accept that you're not perfect, because then you'll be able to just write and work your way into making it something that's semi-perfect. But don't go with the mindset that you are perfect, because then everything that you write it won't feel organic, and it needs to feel organic. To YA authors, I say, 1, write the story of your heart, write the story of your dreams, write the story that you wanted maybe the younger you to have, but also be cognizant of what this story is going to mean to other people. I think a lot of, for what YA is about, hitting a part inside of you that you don't really expose. You really don't, get into, because we're taught during our teen years that, you just need to do this, and you need to do this, and you do this. Instead of really getting to know yourself. So I'd say write what you want to write, but also be cognizant of who's going to be reading this, because you're going to affect and change somebody else's world, and that's a power that you have to be responsible with, and you have to think justly with, and you have to remember that someone's going to take away something from this that could really help them later on in life, or could help them right now.
And your advice for authors and aspiring writers who are from the LGBTQ community and so on?
Oh my goodness. Do not, and I can't stress this enough, do not think you cannot be the hero. Do not think that you cannot write that story, because you can. And also, do not think that because someone else has already written some version of the story that you can't tell your version of the story. Because I think with marginalization, it's almost like once one person does it, then it's cut off from everybody else. It's like, oh, so-and-so wrote this kind of book already. You can't, even though yours is slightly different, though yours is 75% different, it's already been told. It's like, why are we limited to what we can write? Why is there only just one of in a genre, in a community, in a world where there's millions of it? Why can't I tell this story also? So don't think just because XYZ has already told this version of the story that you're not allowed to tell your version of the story. Do it. Please do it, because we need it.
Woo, yes. And then one more question. Yeah, there's a lot that could be discussed with you, Julian.
I am a talker. I need to just I don't know. We got some weekly sessions or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, there will be more to come. This is just the first of more to come. So what is the biggest takeaway, or it doesn't even have to be biggest, that's kind of subjective, but what is the takeaway that you want people to get from Running with Lions, as well as how to be Remy Cameron, and as well as after people hear this conversation that you and I have had?
That, I guess the biggest takeaway I want people to have is that it's okay to not know what you want out of life. It's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. It's fine. It's also okay to recognize that you are the hero in your own story. And that doesn't mean that you have to go save the world today. Doesn't mean you have to go save the world tomorrow. It just means you have to know that you can. And if you know that you can, then do it when you're most comfortable. And I hope that's what people take away from any book I write, is that you're the hero. Be that hero when you're ready and when you're comfortable, not when everyone else wants you to do it.
Julian Winters, everyone. Thank you so much, Julian, for talking to So Booking Cool today. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I appreciate it so much, and let everyone know how they can keep up with you and check out your awesome books. And I can't wait to learn more about your next book, the third one.
Thank you so much. Let's see if I can remember my usernames. It would help if I had one username for everything. On Twitter, you can find me at Julian W _Writes. That's Julian W _Writes. On Instagram, you can find me at Winters Julian, all one word. You can go to my webpage, which is julianwinters.com. And let me preface this, not www.julianwinters.com, just julianwinters.com. Because I think www.julianwinters.com takes you to a whole other world or something. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. And yeah, those are usually places that people can find me.
Thank you so much to all the listeners, and until next time, So Booking Cool.
Thank you. Hi, this is Julian Winters, author of Running with Lions and How to Be Remy Cameron. You can check out both of my books via my publisher, Interlude Press, and you're listening to So Booking Cool with Jewel D.